Fun times, man.
Fun times. I feel like a very unsuccessful rapper.
Lloyd Banks.
And with that, let's begin.
I think you need to say clearly what happened.
Who gives a fuck? I don't care if you personally kick Candace Owens and her stanky
cray.
No good thing starts with, I was thinking about my ex.
He ain't learned his lesson. That's a brother ain't gonna learn shit.
I know this is gonna be unpopular and I don't care. Let's keep this shit funky.
What's happening? What's craculating? What's unpopping, good people? Welcome to the Unpopin Show, home of unpopular opinions. I am T Storm and joined by, as always, my partner in crime, DJ Mike Swift. What's up, fam?
It was a rough road getting here, but we arrived.
Oh my God, this rough road is not even okay for folks that can't see us. Yeah, if you're listening, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, make sure you do so. Where you can go to unpopinshow.com and choose video or audio or both and see what we're talking about and hear what we're talking about and understand the fact that I'm wearing a New York blue shirt looking like a Crip right now. I'm not cripping. I have no idea. I don't know anything about gangs except the colors. In any case, I wanted to rep the New York Knicks. Shout out to my brother Kevin, who is a diehard Knick fan. I mean, he has not given up on the Knicks. I have common sense, and so
Did it backwards, it means something completely different. Huh?
Yeah, it's the New York Knicks. You stupid. that's that. Well, any case, anyway, wanted to represent for New York. The weekend that we're shooting this, this is the day after 9/11, 20 years since that tragedy in here in the United States and definitely in New York City was affected. Where the World Trade Centers were basically bombed and destroyed. Watching some of the footage and stuff like that I, from back then. Spike Lee did another Knick fan. He did a very, 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 very cool 3-part documentary on HBO Max. I encourage you to go check it out because it wasn't just about 9/11. It was about New York being the epicenter from 9/11 2001 to now. Right. So it's a 2021 and a half, and it starts off with the COVID crisis and everything that happened here. It delves into our now former governor Cuomo, and that guy is an interesting dude. Learned a lot watching that. But if you haven't seen it already, make sure you check out Spike Lee's NYC Epicenter 2001 to 2021 and a half. It's very, very, very cool look at New York City. If you never visited New York City, don't do it now. We're in the middle of a COVID crisis. Stay your ass at home. Don't come here now, man. I don't care what the flights. It's cheap. You can get to New York for $1. It's a reason for that. Stay your ass at home.
No, I haven't seen it, man. And admittedly, I kind of went into a little bit of a shell yesterday, and I
on actual 9/11, that would have been yesterday.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But watching it year after year, watching the footage year after year, I just couldn't again. I couldn't again this year.
Yeah.
But I did, think about like that day and the moment it all happened. I had started, that was my second job in television. And I'd started in July. And it was the first time I had any kind of real responsibility. The first job in television was just, something different. But I remember standing or where my desk was, it was like in a kind of a communal space where people would come and go or whatever. And then it was like three of us standing there talking. It's like my boss, another employee, and we were talking, and you know, it's a TV station. Everybody had a TV, and TV's on. And we were wall-to-wall news before the second plane hit. So when we got news, it was just the first plane had hit, right? At that point, it wasn't nefarious thinking. It was like maybe it was some, you know, Cessna or something that went off course. Maybe it was some type of accident. And we watched as the second plane came into frame, and it was like slow motion, and everybody's heads just kind of followed it. And it hit the building. And then I saw news really happen. Everybody just went in a direction and shit started happening. And I was just kind of standing there like, what am I supposed to do? You know,
Right.
And it was like the next few days, it was wall to wall news and a lot of stuff. And you didn't really get a chance to kind of feel and be in it because you were working, you know, and certainly not working like, you know, people at Ground Zero and that type of thing. But
Right.
you know, it was mentally occupying. So I didn't really get a chance to think about it until probably December.
Wow.
Like December that year is when I kind of just stopped and thought about it and was like, oh shit. You know, and I had a few people in New York at the time. I was trying to get in touch with them. You know, cell towers weren't, it was crowded with traffic, people trying to call everybody. So it was crazy. It was really crazy.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta at the time. I had left New York and was in the process of coming back to Atlanta. I had just left, so I missed it maybe by a few weeks, and
Wow.
was back on the air at Hot in Atlanta, and was doing like overnight. So I was doing overnights and weekends or something like that, and just prior, Aaliyah had died. We got the news that Aaliyah had died that same year. So I remember breaking that news on the air, you know, a few months later, you know, maybe about, I don't know, it was a month later, 2 months later. So it wasn't, you know, I can't remember exactly. But I crashed at my cousin. Shout out to Ike. I crashed at my cousin Ike's house because it was the closest house to get to once I got off the air. I went and I think I was riding a bike and I rode up. He lived in the West End at the time. And so I rode from the station to Ike's house and I crashed on the couch and he had bounced and left the money and was calling. Kept the phone was ringing. I got up and answered the phone. I was like, what's up? He was like, yo, they crashing buildings. Twin Towers. I was like, what? And I flipped it on and by the time I turned it on, I saw the second plane hit. It was a Harbinger. But what I remember about the time, because they grounded all air traffic. It was really eerie not to hear a plane in the sky.
My sister and her late husband, you know, rest in peace, Steve. They went to Vegas to get married, and then the planes hit. They grounded all air traffic, so they were stuck in Vegas.
Wow. Yeah. The motto is never forget. I like to add never forget any of it. Shout out to rest in peace, old friend Bob Slade, who I got the honor of working with, a legendary newsman in New York City. He had been at the now defunct Kiss FM from the time it started to the time, you know, they sold it over 30-something years or whatever. I grew up listening to Kiss FM, 98.7 Kiss FM, where Chuck Chill Out and Red Alert used to do, you know, their thing on the weekend, you know, Friday and Saturday nights or whatever. That, you know, that legendary station. Bob Slade told me at the time in 9/11, again, he's a newsman. Kiss FM had Tom Joyner on the air in New York City.
Okay.
And as this tragedy was happening in New York, Mr. Joyner said nothing on the air. Nothing about it. And as he was going off the air, it was kind of like, as he was signing off at 10 a.m. Yeah, there's something happened in New York out there. Best of luck or something like that, and see you tomorrow. And signed off. Bob Slade was not appreciative of that at all. He passed that information on to me. He was like, and if you from New York, Tom Jordan never quite worked out in New York City. He's like trying to syndicate into New York City. It's a hard stretch, but it just never quite worked out. And Slade attributed that part of it because people never forgot that. Because he looked at it, and not to shit on Tom Joyner, he was a great broadcaster, legendary broadcaster. But the feeling was that he didn't really look at New York as a major deal, a big deal. It was just one of his affiliates. And whatever was happening in New York, that's a New York problem, not a national disaster.
Right, because that was like a national thing. It was a world thing. Like, how did he certainly, I wonder,
By the way, just the bit of information that Bob Slade gave me was confirmed by another program director, shout out Derek Brown in Chicago, who was in Miami at the time, said, yep, that's exactly what happened. It's like, oh, yeah. So
I wonder if he looked back on that and said, yeah, I missed, that was an error.
Yeah, he had to. Because he stayed trying to stay, getting there. He tried to make it up, get back to New York. He finally, his last go around, before he retired, he was a little radio station that you can barely hear in New York City. It's kind of almost not really on the air. He got a place in New York, like in Harlem or something like that, and was here more for that. But by the time, that wasn't a real signal. But in any case, he had to. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
That's a miss,
Yeah. So, like I said, the motto was never forget. Well, never forget all of it. Well, my man Bob Slade passed it on to me for a reason. He's passed it on, so I'm passing it to y'all. Never forget none of it. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, man. Any case, that's enough doom and gloom with that, man. On September 11th, I chose to we had a party for my now 5-year-old son, Tahir, Prince Tahir.
Congratulations.
Yeah. He is a superstar. First of all, he started school, started kindergarten on his birthday, which is the 8th. He was excited about that. That was really cool for him to start on that day because he got treated like the king of kindergarten. Came home with a crown and everything. Like, he really enjoyed his day. His first day was, because you always, want your kid to have a great day at school. He had the best first day of school ever.
The bar is set a little too high now.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, this got to be like this every year. Every year, the first day of school is gonna be my birthday. So he had a wonderful time this first, and then we had a little celebration. Our neighbors came over. We had some pizza and cut a little cake and said, okay, we're going to do the big party on Saturday. He's like, all right. So all week he's looking forward to Saturday. And Saturday gets here, boy, he had a ball. We got a bouncy house, his cousins and our old neighbors and my new neighbors and some friends and everybody, it was a great time. Kids, about 9 kids, kept it small, relatively small. 9 kids, maybe 12 adults, I think it is. So less than 20 people, maybe just that 20 people, something like that. And it was outside. So, everybody was very respectful. If they needed to come in the house to use the bathroom, they masked up to come in. I kept hand sanitizer on deck and everything and maintained social distancing and all that good stuff. It was a wonderful time. And of course, I put my big speakers outside and blasted all types of music. Everything. I started off with James Brown, just to ease them into it's gonna be loud,
and it's gonna be black.
It's gonna be black. I don't think he gets much blacker than James Brown. Only thing more militant might have been if I started playing Malcolm X.
Last Poets.
Last Poets. Right. Oh yeah, Last Poets would have went really good in my neighborhood. My Caucasian friends were like, what does he mean? Poisonous crackers. Like, what does that even mean?
Just don't eat the Ritz. That's all I'm saying.
That's all it is. Poisonous crackers? No. Yeah. You don't want to eat those. But yeah, it was a wonderful time. Well, I have a 5-year-old now. This is blowing my mind. For those who can see the show, they're watching. I have these silly looking shades on because I have this crazy sty still on my eye. It's left and come. It's like kind of went away and said, "No, I'm not ready to leave yet," and came back. God damn it! So,
dude, I had one for a year.
A year?
Mm-hmm. They kept giving me these medication. It didn't get rid of it, and I finally had to go into the doctor's office, get my eyelid numbed. He flipped it back in the office and burned it out.
I don't want that. It's not on the inside. It's on the outer.
On the outside. Yeah, mine was on the inside under the eyelid.
Oh, jeez. I don't really want surgery on my eye. I've had enough surgeries for a while. The last one was on my elbow. That was scary when the nerve block and makes you not, paralyzes your entire. Yeah, that was not fun at all.
Like that kind of stuff.
No. So that's the type of shit that I'm going through here. Yeah. In any case, kind of loosey goosey today, folks. It's a bunch of news. Like the 9/11 thing was heavy, yes. But I want to stay on the heavy stuff too much.
What do you want to talk about, man?
Shit. What's happening? I've been in a bubble.
Me too. I did figure out though that Bill Cosby was trying to go back on the road.
Yeah, I saw that.
What in the holy hell is he thinking?
I think he and O.J. Simpson need to team up and go on the Oblivious tour. Because O.J. Simpson gets on social media and starts talking about shit like, we don't think he killed somebody. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like,
didn't he do like a book or something? Is like, if I did
it,
like,
I didn't do it, but if I did, I would have did it like this. Like, really, dude?
Oh, stop speculating. Like, just quit it. Just quit it.
Shut the hell up. This is Bill Cosby. Well, I think they're gearing up for another trial for him, or is it a civil? I think it's a civil suit.
It's a civil suit. It was filed back in 2014. Judith Huth, she went after him, said in the 70s at the Playboy Mansion, he got on her. She was 15 at the time, which to me begs the question, why are you 15 years old at the Playboy Mansion? Right?
Listen,
like
the 70s were a different time. Second of all, let's not shame the alleged victim.
I'm not shaming the victim. I'm just asking a legitimate question. You are at the home of the biggest publisher of, I can't say that word on YouTube, the biographies in quite possibly the world, who's known for
nakedness. No?
Polygamy and nakedness.
Mm-hmm.
He should be carding at the door just for his lifestyle. Like, that's dangerous for him. Like how old are you?
I imagine in the 70s, carding wasn't a thing. I mean, for God's sake, Rick James had a song said she was only 17 and she was sexy.
Fair point.
Rick James sang about, she was only 17. Oh
my God.
But she was sexy. Like, ugh.
Oh crap. But 15, she alleges that Cosby got on her.
Hold on.
She filed her case back in 2014, and Andrea Constantine is done. It's her turn.
So do you think R. Kelly is in jail on trial right now, but saying But Rick James did it. What about Rick James? His trouble, he's dead. His troubles are over. Yours have just begun. Bubba wants to see you. Robert,
Office.
you have a date with Bubba.
You remember in elementary school and they would have you do the exercises? You'd have to do the head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
He's going to be doing head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
You're going to be doing head, rubbing shoulders, on his knees, and touching his toes.
Yeah, he is on the greatest tour of his life, the prison tour. R. Kelly.
Oh boy.
Now in Brooklyn coming, like did he do his tour, his bid in Chicago yet? Or he didn't have trial there yet?
I don't think so.
Are they piling everything on because it's federal? So are they piling everything on in Brooklyn, or is he going to have to leave from here and go from state to state where he was, allegedly trafficked, children through those states?
So I will preface this by saying I am no attorney, but as I understand it, federal charges are one thing. States have their own thing that they can charge for. So he realistically could go federal, state, or the states could just say, all right, feds, you got it. Run it. Just run it. But I am no attorney. But Mr. Cosby, he from the wise advice of his counsel has decided he will not do this comedy tour. Because they are going to drag him. He should just kick it with Camille in the crib forever.
Or however long he has. I'm a fan of, Mr. Huxtable, of course. And Bill Cosby, what he did for, for comedy and for entertainment and for black folks. You know what I mean? It is a shame. It all gets swiped clear because of his alleged activities. And I have to say alleged because it's weird, really weird on the case. Like he was freed on a technicality, or he shouldn't have been jailed in the first place. Something. I think he
should have been tried in the first place.
He made a deal.
He cut a deal with the DA. The old DA left. The new DA came in and said, "What deal? I ain't seen no deal," and brought him in. But the deal was he admitted to different things in a deposition on the civil side that the old DA said, we will not bring this up in trial. You get a pass for it to help move the civil case along. And then the new DA came in and was like, taking this nigga to trial. So it was fruit of the poisonous tree. It should have never been introduced and put in front of a judge and a jury in the first place. And that's kind of how he got out of it.
Wow. It took 3 years though. That's crazy. But
I'm gonna ask a question that I'm not gonna ask. I'm
I wonder how many young men did Bill tell him pull your pants up while he was in jail? How many? Yeah, man, have some pride. Pull your pants up. The belt on. Did he run that shit? Because he was on it before you went in. He was on that.
Oh, it's so many jokes. Why does YouTube have to ban us for salacious jokes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so far, our website though, you can say it and you'll have to cut it. The audio entice folks to go over and listen to what Mike had to say about Bill Cosby in 3, 2, and we're back. So if you're watching this, you've missed Just go
The
over to
ankle holding jokes you missed, pants jokes, all kinds of prison humor.
It's something I am excited to see. Have you seen the new trailer for Matrix 4
I
Resurrection?
have.
What are your thoughts on it?
I don't understand it.
What?
Right? Like so and that makes me afraid to watch this movie. Here's what I
Okay.
mean. Usually with a trailer,
Mhm.
you can watch it and have some sense of what the story is.
Right.
And then that will entice you. Like they'll mix in, if it's an action movie, you get some action sequences and you get a little it's put together in a sense of you kind of get what's going to go on. In the Matrix 4 trailer, I looked at it. It looked really cool,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't understand what the story is. Is Neo back in the Matrix? Is it a different person? It feels like just a rehash of all of the old stuff, just done now. How many years later? Because I think the last movie was done in 2003. So 2021, we get a new movie, and it's the same characters, except for
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne, who is
Yeah.
very noticeably not in it. So yeah, it makes me afraid that there's no real interesting story being told. It's just a lot of great special effects, and they're putting the Matrix 4 on it, and people will go and spend $200 million to see something that's meh.
I think, well, I'm a fan of the Matrix, like, well, especially the very first one. First one was done very well. It was the story and everything was great about it, right? And I watched the other two. I feel like I kind of tolerated the other two, but to see the story come to a completion, by 3, I was like, okay, it wasn't as great as the first. It was more, there was more money, for all the effects and things that they, very innovative in doing. But watching the trailer, and folks, if you've seen it, feel free to chime in. What I've gathered from it is picking up from the what was it? What was I forget what the last one was called? It wasn't called Resurrection. This one is called Resurrection. The third one, there was, I forget what it's called. In any case, but the last one, that we found out that the Matrix, the program as a means of control, would have the one, come and do what Neo did every time, and I think he said it was 6 times that had happened, that had gone through the process of connecting to the source or whatever, coming back and then brokering a deal for peace, and then it starts over again. So I'm gathering that this is a recycle of, the cycle of what happens between the Matrix and the real world, and that Neo, once again, doesn't realize who he is. There's a part where Neo and Trinity see each other like in a coffee shop, and they shake hands, and they give it a look like, do I know you? Have we met? One of those type of things. So
And I hate to be this guy. Actually, no, I don't. I'm fine with being this guy. To answer your original question, the third Matrix movie was Revolutions. Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions. And the last 2 were both released in 2003.
Right.
If it's not going to be a movement of the story, if it's not going to be a significant differentiator, if it's not going to be a new interesting take on the original concept, what's the point? Right? It just kind of becomes a Hollywood box office money grab to me. And I think I've said that said this on this show before. I am bored with that. Like, I'm bored with it out of TV. I'm bored with it out of the movies. It's just like, okay, we'll slap a name on it. Let's make another Batman movie and not do anything interesting with it. Yeah, it's just okay. And not to pick on Batman, because I think the last ones were actually pretty good. But
there's new ones coming. I've chosen not to watch the trailers for it because I don't know what the point is.
It's earlier in his development as Batman. So
Did we see this
Oh.
already?
did we though? I
Yeah,
guess we did with Christian Bale and
Yeah.
that trilogy. But look, I'll be interested to see how they handle it. The trailers for it don't look so bad. But I'm just bored with the money grab. I hope that there's some spin or take on this storytelling that makes me go, whoa, but I doubt it.
Hey, listen, Hollywood itself is a money grab. What do you mean? I think that's how Hollywood started. It was a money grab. There's money, there's gold in them there hills. Money grab.
So I've said this about music, and I believe it about television and film as well. You can be artistic really for the sake of being artistic, right? You can have an idea and develop that idea and not really be super concerned with profit. And then let people who market and profit figure out how to make money off of it. Instead of the people who market and profit either being the creators of it or being so heavily influenced with the creation of it that you lose the artistic part of it. I'm trying to think of a film that did that very well. And sadly, one does not jump into my brain immediately.
Star Wars.
Star Wars, actually. Yes. It was created. It was an idea. A man created a universe and a world, and he made this movie and turned it into a phenomenon.
Yeah. It was so, what I remember hearing about it, it was so weird to people. I mean, and think about it just think about that pitch to, before, if we never heard of Star Wars and hearing the pitch for it, we're like, yeah, get out of here with that. What,
So a space cowboy and his part dog, part man companion fly a disc throughout space.
Get that shit up out of here, man. Whatever. No. I want to see. I want to see Roy Rogers, take on a horse again. That didn't even sound right. Okay, never mind. But yeah, Star Wars.
Like some weird Pornhub shit.
Right, it did. It was just like, no, that's not where I was going with that. No, but James Earl Jones didn't want his name on it initially. He was the voice of Darth Vader.
Yes.
But he wasn't, it was just like, it was so weird, so out there. He was just like, yeah, nah, don't worry about it.
You're like, just give me the check.
Just cut the check. And then it blew up. It was like, oh yeah, I did that. Like, so
yeah, I mean, I just hope it's, I just hope it's not a carbon copy of the others. And
no, it's going to be. It's going to be. Because I mean, Star Wars did the exact same thing.
And those movies sucked.
I mean, 9 movies later, the last 3, they went to try to recreate instead of, to add on, but redoing the original story again. I mean,
they just mixed it up just enough to call it new.
It's a remix. Yeah, they remixed the movie. And I'm such a fan of Star Wars. I'm gonna go check it out anyway. I'm a fan. I brought my kids up on Star Wars and Juice with Tupac. Like Star Wars, Juice, and West Side Story. Those are the movies that I had my kids watching when they were coming up. That's a hell of a spectrum here.
Yes, that is
a gangster movie. You have a musical and a weird space film. Like, what's going? But it spans, But in any case, yeah, I still go watch it. Speaking of West Side Story, and I'm really hopeful. When I say I'm a fan of West Side Story. Trust me, I am. I'm upset. I went and saw it live in Jersey. It was at the NJ Pack some years ago. My wife knows how much of a fan of it is, and we got tickets, and the whole family went and watched it, and it was cool. It was a stage play or whatever, but it wasn't Broadway. Well, 2020 was supposed to. They were supposed to had. It was starting off a new Broadway run of West Side Story. Then COVID happened and shut down Broadway in New York City and the world, and so Broadway's been, it's about to reopen. This in September, and they announced that no, West Side Story's not going to happen. I was like, God damn it! Not that I was going to go in COVID, but I figured it would be around. I would have a chance to go see it. No, they shut that down. I'm so upset. But Steven Spielberg is doing a new version of it in film. And it's a timepiece. It's not even like he didn't try to, from looking at the trailers, he didn't try to make it more modern. It's the same time period.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. Just different actors. I don't know if I'm sure all the music will be basically the same. I think he may get it right, what Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't, which is make sure there are some dark-skinned Latinos in the movie because they exist. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. And that's one of the movies I'm like, Mr. Spielberg, you better not fuck it up. I really want to stick. This was my, West Side Story. Speaks to me. I like West Side Story. I like Rocky. I like the Rocky films.
What was I finna say? The music.
Yes.
You said the music will be the same.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna update it. You don't think he's gonna get Lil Baby to do a verse? Give Meg the Stallion to do something.
I will have to throw something at the screen if that happens. I can see me now sitting there watching. I like to be in America, and here comes Cardi B going, whap. Get this bitch off the
As you just look at the screen and go, no, and just walk out. No.
Cardi B appears. She just better be with the Sharks. She just better be like Maria's little sister or something, because she has a hell of a New York Latino accent. Something about that accent is, it's very. We're talking about Rosie Perez, and the fact that I didn't see her. I think she was discovered on Spike Lee discovered her on Soul Train.
I think that's how the story goes. Yes.
Yeah, and put her in the movie, Do the Right Thing. She did the dance in the opening, and I never thought she was that great of a dancer. She just had the pelvic thrust was amazing.
She did the choreography for In Living Color,
and I keep hearing that. I didn't know that she did that.
Yep, she did that. J-Lo got her start on In Living Color. J-Lo was one of the Fly Girls, I think it was.
Yep.
And it was somebody else that I'm blanking on right now that was from that camp. Josie, the girl with the braids, who was in like every rap music video in the 90s, who was just beautiful. But yeah, they're all alum from that space, and Rosie was the choreographer. She would do all of choreograph those routines that they did in the interstitials, the little breaks.
She's on The View now. She has not lost her accent. It's not diluted. It's not softened. It is the same 1989 Rosie Perez. Mookie. But gotta love it.
I love Rosie Perez. I'm just gonna say that. I think the ice and upper chest area scene was amazing.
Yes.
Some of y'all don't know that scene. I encourage you to go back and watch the movie.
Thank God for toes. Thank God for kneecaps.
Thank God for the left. Thank God for the right.
Spike Lee gets get a high five for that one, brother.
That scene did nothing to advance the idea of the film or develop characters. He just wrote that shit in so he could do it.
So you got to get partially naked in this one, and some ice cubes. All right, clear the room, roll it.
He was like, I was at Cosby's house last night and I came up with this great idea.
Only if he said, "Hey, would you like some? Would you like a Coke or some pudding pops?" As soon as we finish the scene, I got you. All right, roll it. No, we didn't get it right. Need some more ice cubes. Let's do this again. How many takes did they do that in?
He said, would you like some Coke? And she said, yes. And he brought out a razor blade and a piece of glass. Here.
Oh man.
Yeah. Can we talk about Larry Elder?
Yes, you have to fill me in again and who that is. Is that the black man from California? Running
That
for governor?
is I don't know is he California? He's a Republican.
Yep.
He's a politician.
Mm-hmm.
He is running for governor of California.
That's him.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounded like it sounded like a I can't say it. Damn it, YouTube, and you I have to censor myself. Oh man.
I just envision somebody sitting in a chair at YouTube with their finger on the delete button, watching the show, just waiting. Say something.
He gonna say it. He gonna say something today. Look at that stupid blue shirt. He gonna say something stupid today. Yeah. So yeah. Please elaborate on this, brother, because
so Larry Elders, like I said, is running for governor of California, and a conversation that he had with Candace Owens some time ago has resurfaced.
Another one. I want to say the word, but I won't. But it rhymes with room. Continue.
He talked about reparations.
Yeah. Powers of people. Not those people. Fuck them.
So his quote, when people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Like it or not, slavery was legal. Their legal property was taken away from them after the Civil War, so you could make an argument that the people that are owed reparations are not only just black people, but also the people whose property was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
Your mic is cutting out.
Oh no, say it ain't so. What about now? Am I good?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
So I'll just read it again.
Yeah.
When people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Like it or not, slavery was legal. Their legal property was taken away from them after the Civil War, so you could make an argument that the people that are owed reparations are not only just black people, but also the people whose property was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
It's so ridiculous. It's laughable, but it's infuriating at the same time. So this brother just basically said, yeah, reparations, not to the slaves, but not only to the slaves, but to the slave owners for their property being taken away. Talking about human beings, his ancestors.
So I had mixed emotions and mixed thoughts on that.
You're cutting out again. Mixed emotions.
I had mixed emotions and mixed thoughts on that. So if you take, all right, so if you think of then in the mind of then, and you strip all emotion away, all notions of humanity, then what he says makes sense. It's like talking about a bicycle.
Yeah.
But if you acknowledge
or
that,
an animal,
sure, which I don't even know if they would talk about animals that way now, but if you accept the notion that we as the world has said that slavery was a bad thing in general, not just in America, everywhere, it's a bad idea, and you approach it with from a level of humanness, for lack of a better term,
humanity.
it becomes ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I got curious. And I was like, who would agree with this? It's actually a concept called compensated emancipation. It has been done before,
I'm sure,
throughout the world and in the United States.
As it pertains to slavery?
As it pertains to slavery. It was instituted the great Republican leader, Abraham Lincoln,
okay,
who emancipated the slaves, tried to get this passed, compensated emancipation. Nobody bid it, nobody went for it, but they did it in the District of Columbia. And I'm trying to find the exact number. It gave the act for the release of certain persons held to service or labor within the District of Columbia was put into law on April 16th, 1862 by President Abraham Lincoln. It gave former slave owners $300 per enslaved person set free.
And what did the slaves get?
So that's a very interesting question. The act, in contrast, the formerly enslaved received nothing if they decided to stay in the United States. It provided for an immigration incentive of $100, which is about $2,600 in 2021 money, if they agreed to permanently leave the United States.
We'll pay you to go.
We'll pay you to go.
I mean,
We'll pay them because they lost their property, and we'll pay you to go. So, as ridiculous as Larry Elder is, this country has done that.
Yeah, that doesn't make it.
No, it's not right. It's certainly not right. But presumably they've paid more to former slave owners than they ever have former slaves and descendants thereof. So
maybe that's we should revive that Reparations Act and say, yeah, you owe us and we'll leave. And we take that and
to Akon City in Africa.
Yeah, one of those.
I found this fascinating, right? And look, and I'm not pulling this out of my rear end. I am reading from an article, and I will leave it in the description. I'll leave a link to it in the description. It's an article written by one Mr. Thomas Kramer. He's the associate professor of public policy at the University of Connecticut. I read it from a few different sources just so I wasn't getting information from one place. I was weighing it against itself, and every place that I saw it, it was a couple of little things were different, but it was roughly the same thing. But it was absolutely fascinating. They did something similar in Haiti. Haiti wound up paying France.
Yeah, and that's why Haiti is dead broke.
And that's exactly why Haiti is dead broke. They didn't finish paying that off until 1947, I think.
Yeah.
122 years. They wound up borrowing them. They borrowed a bunch of money from French banks to pay France for the loss of slave labor. And it took them 122 years to do it. And their economy has been just devastated in that time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother thing.
The British did it. They did it in Haiti. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Larry Elder, thank you for saying that what you said to make me go and do some research.
Nah, fuck you, Larry Elder. Fuck you very much. And I hope all the folks in California vote against whatever's this is weird. They're trying to this recall election. Make sure you vote in that and don't let, this piece of work become governor of California. Oh, good God. Can you imagine? Like, really, dude? You want to pay this? Yeah, granted, it's been done. Don't make it right. Neither was slavery. But understanding that, okay, slavery was not a good thing. We want to compensate you. But yeah, the people that were participating, that benefited from it the most, we're going to pay you too? Yeah, fuck that. No.
So, I'm glad you said pay you, because the author of this article did rough math. Where is it? And I was like, whoa. Alrighty. He said in the 1860 census.
Hold on. Your mic is doing stuff funky. Yeah. I sound like it might be your wire.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of wires.
Yeah, it's kind of funky. I can hear you, but you sound off mic.
Let's do this. Let's toggle on and off and see if that helps. How's that?
Shitty. I can hear you, but it's not great.
Shitty. Can we get the fucker out? Any better?
No.
We're just having a wonderful time today.
Yeah, this has been the spirit of Teddy Riley has been flowing all through the program today. Yeah.
Any better?
It's choppy.
I think it might be the data connection. Fuck.
Well, it's about time to kind of wrap anyway. So, hate to end it on a shitty mic note. Shitty mic note.
Every relationship I've ever been in ended on a shitty mic note.
Right. But yeah. Again, I encourage folks in California, please make sure you get out there and vote. If you got family in California, make sure you call them, make sure they vote. Don't skip past this election, because things could be. You think Drumpf was weird? Let's not let these weird folks get in power, man. This is. I just don't have. I don't even have the energy. It's just why this is a black man. They say it's the weirdest shit ever. I mean, Candace Owens is weird enough, right? And I don't think she's stupid. She's just very misguided, right? But the fact that there are people like this,
I don't think Candace Owens is completely misguided. I just think she's a very intelligent woman with some well thought out viewpoints, and her origination of how she got to where she is, to me, makes perfect sense. I would say we both probably originated in a very similar place. We just wound up in different places.
okay.
I think she drank too much of the Kool-Aid. She's too much of a Republican and not enough of a independent thinker. So she comes off as a very smart woman who is a Republican cheerleader. And I don't know if that's that she loves the Republicans so much or she hates the Democrats so much. I don't know. but just that polarization makes her sound like a Republican cheerleader, which immediately makes a lot of people just not want to hear what she has to say. And I think sometimes she has something intelligent to say.
Yeah, she lost me when the way she spoke about George Floyd. In fact,
yeah, I don't even know what the fuck that was about. Like she was.
So like, this, again, and then, she's in the same box with Kanye as far as I'm concerned. By the way, I haven't listened to his album and I refuse to.
Yeah,
I don't care. And then I've been hearing mixed reviews on it, like, it's terrible, or some people say, yeah, it's great. I don't care. In any case, hey folks, this has been a very weird show today. Like from technical issues to like it's just one of them things. It's, but hopefully you enjoyed and you subscribe and stay with us anyway. If you haven't subscribed, again, check our website, Unpopin Show. Follow us on all social media at Unpopin Show. Oh, wait a minute. Unpopinshow.com. Sorry. See, even I'm getting all scrambled brain. Listen, folks, we appreciate you. Thanks for following along with us. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, y'all be safe out there. Peace.
Peace. Did you see the Holyfield fight?
Nah, when he's like, oh, Trump is going to be moderating or what, I was like, I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to, nope. 50 Cent was being on there too, but I didn't even want to see it.
He was. 50 Cent was on it. 50 Cent got an opportunity to say about 4 words before the fight was over.
Before the fight was over?
That fight lasted about a minute and some change, bro.
Who won?
Holyfield lost, man.
Holyfield lost?
Yeah.
He got knocked down, like knocked out?
He got knocked down. He didn't get knocked out, but he got knocked down and he wasn't defended. He fell, he tripped and fell.
Okay.
And he got up. And then he got knocked down. It was a clean punch. And he got up. And the guy was just throwing punches, hitting him. And he wasn't fighting back. He was just, defending, and the ref called it.
Wow.
Ref called it. He was pissed.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, he's 59 years old, man. You can't take those chances.
Yeah, that's probably why they stopped it. It wasn't like a real sanction. It was a sanction, but it wasn't even like for a belt. It was more of an exhibition.
Don't lose your life over that,
Yeah, I'd rather. I mean, if he was going to do it, I would rather have seen him and Tyson go at it again.
The way Tyson looked in that fight versus the way Holyfield looked in that fight, Tyson would have ate him alive.
Yeah,
Holyfield was slow. His jabs were slow. He was reacting slow. He looked like a 59-year-old man.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, that said, I still wouldn't fuck with him.
Yeah. Big slow still connect.
Exactly. I mean, he was in fantastic shape.
Yeah, he was. I mean, last year when he was talking that shit. Him and Tyson they had workout videos around the same time. Little snippets on social media. And he looked good. He didn't look as vicious as Tyson, though. Tyson looked like he was ready to, bite somebody's ear off again. Like he was in that mode. Like, and fast. Holyfield wasn't that fast. I don't think he was really that fast before.
No, not that I recall. I don't think he was a super fast puncher, but I mean, he just didn't. They rang the bell and he came out, and I was like, ooh. And this was before I knew that he lost. I just was like, let me watch this fight.
Did you hear Trump at all?
No.
Yeah, I think he might have been on an earlier fight. There was a story they was reaching out to try to get Obama and what's his name? The other black president, Clinton, trying to get them to, and they felt it's like they felt empowered to do that because Trump said, former President Trump did it, but he wasn't really a president in the first place. They're not looking at it like, I think they have a little more dignity, honoring the office of president. You know what I mean? They're not doing no carnival barker shit. Meanwhile, that's all dude is. So.
I liked the idea of Tyson stepping back into the ring when it was, let the legends get their shine.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And let's get Snoop to call it. Let's get 50 to call it. Let's get the president to call it. And then it starts to become Miley Cyrus riding on a wrecking ball, right? It starts to become that kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Like
I always hate it, like TV when television does that surprise. Oh, this shit's not it. I'm turning on the wrong volume. When they do that, look who's here. It's TV's so-and-so is here. What are you doing here? Like, I always hated that shit. You know what I mean? But I understand why they do it, because it's or at least for American television, it has to feel exciting all the time.
But it doesn't, right?
Right.
I think The Sopranos proved that. I think Sex and the City proved that.
How so?
Because it was good, interesting storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't special guest star.
Right.
Let's tell a good story, and let's do it in an interesting way with some level of integrity. And people said, we like this, right?
Yeah.
You take The Walking Dead, for example. When The Walking Dead started, it was fantastic. It was an innovative story being told in a weekly format with excellent character development, and then it went off the rails, right? when it got to the one-upmanship where we have to make each thing more salacious than the next, is when it lost America. So I feel like the people making this shit think that they have to do that in order to get people to watch. But in reality, you really don't.
Right.
In reality, just tell us a good story. Show us something that we can get our teeth around, we can sympathize with, we can see ourselves in, or we can not see ourselves in and just completely escape. But this, let's get Obama to call a fight. For what? What does he know about boxing?
Right.
I don't want to see it.
I think he's a fan of it, but again, I'm sure he views it as disrespecting the office of president.
It's not his place. Even if he was never the president, he was just a really popular lawyer. It's not his place. That's not his arena. I'm a fan of boxing. I'm never gonna try to call a fight. Somebody would come, hey man, we'll give you X number of dollars to call this fight. I'm gonna say no, thank you. No, thank you. Because I box a little bit, but certainly not enough to sit in a chair and look at two professional men fighting and think I know enough to talk about that outside of just, having a beer at a bar or whatever, talking to people or whatever. But to be trying to call that as a professional, that's not my place. That's not my place at all. Neither is it Trump's. Snoop was hilarious. It's not Snoop's place. Right?
Yeah, that shit. Still, we got some of the best audio from Snoop though.
It was goddamn funny. It was absolutely hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But does that even make people want to watch more? Right? Like, I didn't want to see Holyfield fight until they said Trump was going to call a fight. Now I want to see it.
But that's why they do it.
Oh,
that's why they do it.
People, be smarter.
It's that. Oh, look who's here! Everyone's here. Oh my god! I saw when Chappelle was on SNL, they did that very thing and brought out Chris Rock, Tracy Morgan, who else?
Eddie Murphy,
and Keenan. And Chappelle, who clearly hates the shit, was like, "Hold on, man, we're having a moment here." He's poking fun. Well, he says it while they don't work. Oh, we're having a moment here. Like he understands, yeah, we'll do it. I ain't gonna like it. Or wait a minute. What? No, it was Eddie Murphy that was on, and they brought Chappelle and everybody out. It was Eddie Murphy that said, we're having a moment here." Like, I don't like this shit.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old, but I just don't like it.
We are. We are. It is. It's happening.
Fair enough.